Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Before Bretonnia drops publicly for everyone tomorrow, assuming you have Total War access, which is super easy to get, which is just signing up on the forums, I wanted to play through a quick battle for y'all. So I decided to do the final quest battle for the Bretonnians if you decide to go to war against Chaos for the Errantry battle. And here you'll see my formation. I basically, for this final battle, took an all-knight army, backed up by 2 trebuchets. So you'll see I have a line of questing knights in the back, a line of Grail knights, all in lance formation, led, of course, by the Green Knight himself, who you can summon on the campaign and bring into battles with you, up to a maximum, I think, 4 times per campaign. And then the front of my line are all Grail Guardians, who are led by a damsel with the Lore of Life, who's in there somewhere. You'll see her later in the fight. I don't remember where she is in this clip. And then Leonker is, of course, leading my 2 units of Royal Hippogriff Knights, who are Grail Knights that are mounted on Hippogriffs that are a little bit smaller than the typical Lord variant, but obviously they come in a unit, and they have wonderful anti-large and can hit like trucks. And then, of course, my advanced line is 2 units of Royal Pegasus Knights, who are also anti-large and are really good for just messing with people. The first opponent that Chaos sends forth to fight me and a small army of Knights Errant is Sigvald the Magnificent, leading his own little Chaos horde. And allied with me is Tancred of Aquitaine, who is leading a force of, as I said, Errant Knights into battle, so I'll be backing him up. And in the far distance, you can see already Chaos is sending reinforcements led by the nefarious and terrifying Archaon the Everchosen, who has brought with him the Swords of Chaos, along with numerous Chosen and 2 Hell Cannons. So, now that the sides are out, we'll be beginning with this battle. I'll probably put a little thing in the title about spoilers, because if you don't want to know how this fight goes, because it is at the end of the campaign, then leave now. Because this fight is actually pretty long, because there's a lot to it. There's that damsel. I did not have her on a Bard steed, just because I didn't want to waste, I just was not interested in wasting the points. So, pretty much this fight is all about just going to war with Chaos and doing as much damage as you possibly can while surviving. Because you have to fight a lot of stuff. So there we have the Hippogriff Knights diving in on Chaos Trolls, who they will absolutely decimate in a matter of seconds. Not even just breaking them, but just pretty much killing all of them. My Knights are riding in. With each of these big blocks, the design is really just to completely overwhelm through numbers and with just brutal charges. Like here, you'll see these Marauders just get completely flattened by the Grail Knights. The Green Knight's there as well, though I sent him almost immediately to go usher a challenge to Sigvald the Magnificent for who is truly better to take out one of the mortal champions of the Dark Gods and an immortal, the lady herself. So the 2 of them have get into a bit of a tussle and have a good fight, though Sigvald gets wiped out a little bit, but those 2 battle for much of the fight. And one thing you actually kind of need in this battle is champions who can take on the Warriors of the Dark Gods, because a lot of them, like Archaon and Sigvald, are quite powerfully buffed up. There's Archaon himself running in as he buffs his guys with the Lore of Fire, and I buff my own with the Lore of Life. I'm using a lot of Shield of Thorns because it provides protection against armor-piercing damage, which is really useful on Knight units. And of course, with the Lore attribute, I heal up. Meanwhile, while Archaon begins his counterattack against me, I send out the Royal Pegasus Knights to take out the Hell Cannons. Though they're guarded by Chosen with halberds, so that's certainly not going to be a tactic without cost. As the Swords of Chaos engage against my own units, I bring in the anti-large Hippogriff Knights, led by Leonker, who dives right on top of Archaon and unleashes the Sword of Claron, which gives a penalty to melee attack and melee defense to all enemies within the range, which is great to nerfing Archaon a bit. Here comes the crushing charge of the Hippogriff Knights, which you'll notice every time they slam to the ground, it will just shake your whole screen. For anyone who's wondering, I am fighting this battle on Very Hard at the end of a Bretonnia campaign, which I'll tell you now, on Very Hard and Legendary, Bretonnia has, excuse me, a very tough campaign. It is certainly not easy. It's probably one of the harder ones out there. Just because you will have waves and waves and waves of enemies coming to try and take you down. And your economy is kind of meh. And it takes forever to build up enough money to be able to afford this many knights. Not to mention, for the errantry battles, you actually have to march all the way to where you actually unleash the errantry war. So like in this campaign, although I spent a lot of time defending Bretonnia, I also launched an errantry war against Norska, and I actually took a 20 stack of peasants and knights led by Lanker up to Norska, and I wielded I waged a war against them for many turns. I think I ended up destroying or razing half of Norska before the Warriors of Chaos finally started to invade the south and caught on to my invasion, and I had to run away from 2 or 3 Chaos Lords who ended up chasing me all the way back to Corone, where I fought quite a few epic siege battles holding them off. But we've pretty much finished mopping up both of the enemy sites at this point, and we've got some further reinforcements showing up. It's an army of battle pilgrims and peasant archers led by one of the prophetesses who have come to aid me in this time of need. Though, honestly, they're so slow, I'd be really surprised if they make it. You see, Archaon's already been shattered. He's had enough. And at this point in the campaign, I think it's almost turn 200. I had just finished defeating the Warriors of Chaos. Still had not achieved an Age of Peace yet because the Warherd of Chaos was still alive. But Archaon himself had been defeated and pushed back, so this was kind of his final stand, and he runs off to go lick his wounds and maybe prepare for an invasion in another few years. Beyond that, though, hopefully we broke his power. Maybe the Dark Gods will just make his head explode instead for failing. But at the very least, we've won this battle! It's over! Or is it? At this moment, reinforcements show up from the side of Chaos, which I'm lucky I was able to mop up Archaon fast enough that I didn't have to fight them at the same time. It's an entire host of Dragon Ogres and Dragon Ogre Shaggas led by none other than Kholek Suneater himself. And they come rampaging down the field ready to try and give my knights what for. But I've already finished up Archaon, so now it's time to reform my battle line and prepare for a triumphant charge against the monsters of Chaos. But as I was saying earlier, while my guys are forming up, you actually have to walk to the final errantry battle, which in this case meant I had to go to Norska, and I had to fight my way all the way through Norska and the Norscan hordes until I reached the Chaos Wastes, and even then I had to go into the very, very tippy top of the Chaos Wastes to fight here at the Cliff of Beasts, which of course has some amazing Chaos architecture with floating citadels and islands and fire and all sorts of other nasty stuff. But it's a very hard walk, and if you declare your errantry war against the Greenskins instead, you have to walk all the way to the southern Badlands, so it's not easy. But here goes in the charge led by the Green Knight and Lanker themselves. This is actually a pretty brutal affair because most of my knights who have lances, which is about half of them, all have anti-large. So they're able to just completely and utterly destroy the Dragon Ogres on the charge. The Hippogriff Riders, of course, are sent in to mop up the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, while Lanker, duels against Kholek himself. And Lanker's pretty kitted out at this point. I think he's about level 18, and he has about a little over a third of his points into his yellow tree for battle skills. But you'll notice that this fight has only been going on for a few seconds. It's pretty much just my charge, and the Dragon Ogres are all dead or are well below 50% health and are just shattered almost instantly by the charge. The only one that didn't shatter on the charge were my Grail Guardians, who are not really a offensive unit, they're a defensive unit. Grail Guardians are who you use when you want to throw somebody in who's tanky and can just hold the line for all of time. They're really good for that. But nonetheless, the Dragon Ogres are defeated, and we have defeated and thrown off the third wave of Chaos and the third legendary lord of their number to come out and fight me. So maybe, just maybe, this is the end? I mean, Chaos doesn't have another Legendary Lord, so I can't think of who they might send as a further reinforcement. But, and yes, you heard me earlier that there's also a Greenskin Errantry War. There's a battle very similar to this one, though I think it's a little bit more enjoyable, where you actually fight the Greenskins. And it's a super epic battle. I won't have time to show it off before this releases for everyone. So if you want to see the Greenskin fight, well, you'll just have to head down there and do it yourself. But this is not my first rodeo with this fight, so I have a strong sense that something else might be coming. Chaos's final attempt. And sure enough, there it is. It's Sartorial the Everwatcher, yet again. Who is leading an army of the demonically possessed. So he's got a bunch of Forsaken, Sartorial himself, who is notably buffed in this patch. He brings with him hordes of Chaos Spawn and, of course, poisoned Chaos Hounds to round out his little force. However, I'm sure he was expecting to find his allies of Sigvald, Archaon, and Kholek still standing, but alas, he is alone. So even as molten metal rains from the sky, we charge in for one final combat. Leonker, of course, diving in to deal with the Greater Demon himself, showing that Lord of Change that he's not welcome in this world, and to banish him back to the realm of chaos once and for all. All my knights, of course, are thundering in for the final charge, reaping a mighty tally, and we'll be looking at the kill count for just a few seconds after this. The Hippogriff Knights and the Pegasus Knights slamming into the Chaos Spawn to put that anti-large to work, making sure those unbreakable enemies are cut down. Even while Leonker and Tancred, who has joined me, duel against the nefarious Greater Demon of Tzeentch, who likely set all of this in motion, thinking he had lured us into a great trap, perhaps. And he is tough, I will add. I'm not sure what they did to Sartorial in the most recent patch, but he is a tanky son of a gun, whose magic actually kind of hurts now, since most of the magic lores have been tweaked a little bit, and he also can hit pretty damn hard. Leonker actually had his hands full dueling against this guy, which, granted, Leonker had been dueling Archaon and Kholek earlier, so he's a little bit wounded, but still, even then, he had Tancred assisting him, and this was not necessarily an easy battle. Some of my knights almost charged in there a little bit, but I thought, you know what, no, this needs to be a duel between lords. I can't control Tancred's army, obviously, but I can at least keep my own Grail Knights out of it, because they have a little bit of a sense of honor. And the Greater Demon thinks he might have us, thinks he can win, but as he turns to face Leonker, a strike from both Bretonnian lords brings the Greater Demon down. And with that, the hordes of chaos are broken and slaughtered, never to return, banished back to the darkness, never to disturb the world again. And Bretonnia claims a great and mighty victory, as the battlefield is scattered with the corpses of the ruinous powers, and no small amount of those brave few who stood against the darkness. And from here, we'll go ahead and pop into the kill counter screen to take a look at that. As you can see, overall, my army got an absolute ton of kills, but considering how small my army was, we lost quite a few brave knights. No small amount of Grail Guardians went down, but my allies certainly did help. The peasants were pretty much useless, but Tancred of Aquitaine and his knights did well. Archaon and the legions of his allies certainly reaped no small amount of kills, considering that almost all of those kills are knights, so each one is a terrible loss. But in any event, I hope you guys really enjoyed that fight and really enjoyed getting an early look at the potential end for the Bretonnian campaign. That was on very hard difficulty. It is not an easy fight. If you do not go prepared, you will lose badly. It's not a pushover, and you have to walk a really long way, either cutting through the northern oceans and the Sea of Claws and the Sea of Chaos, hoping that you can avoid the attentions of the Warriors of Chaos and the Norskins while you go up there, or to rampage through Norsca itself while battling Chaos attrition the entire time, which of course you can get research to reduce the amount of attrition damage you take. But once you reach the Chaos Wastes itself and travel through them to get to the final battle, you'll note that taking even so much as a single step can cause you attrition damage. Unlike some places where if you travel through an attrition-causing zone, you take attrition at the end of the turn, in the Chaos Wastes and other nefarious places, every single step you take results in tens of your troops dying per step. A full march move through the Chaos Wastes, which is what it takes to reach the battle, can result in almost 90% of your forces being wiped out just from the horrific environment. And that's with a research technology that makes you take half attrition from Chaos. So, it's a dangerous place. Of course, you can also go wager war on the Greenskins instead, which is down in the far south, but you have to hope that the Dwarves have won the conflict down there and that they're your allies, so you have easy access, or you might find your progress impeded by endless wars and nefarious Greenskins of the Goblin and Orc variant. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I streamed Bretonnia for about 8 hours 2 days ago. If you want to hop on to my Twitch stream, you can just watch that. I did pretty well for a while, and then the AI managed to outsmart me and actually put me on the back foot towards the end of the stream. And so beating a very hard campaign with Bretonnia definitely was a point of vengeance and redemption for myself. So in any event, I'll be seeing you guys around. I look forward to you all joining Bretonnia and Isabella, who will drop on Tuesday. And I hope you all have a great day. See you. Bye.